Alright, so for this video, basically what I want to do is try to explain symbols, because I find that that's a thing that students often get confused about. So I'm going to try my best just in this video, as succinctly as possible, to try to explain what symbols are exactly. Okay, so now normally, if you're in a program, right, you would draw something, right? So there I drew something, and then we would, I don't want to fill it in with black. Let's make it, since it's already hard, let's make it red, right? So I would make a drawing, okay? But this drawing is just a drawing. It's not anything other than a drawing. It just is what it is. You can't do anything with it because it's just a picture, right? It's just a vector graphic. There's not anything else that you can do to it. What Adobe Animate does is basically allow you to take a drawing and make it an object, okay? So an object is just like an object. It's the same thing as it is for programming. So if you are familiar with programming and you know you can code objects, that's literally what it's doing. And an object in code is literally the same thing it is, let's say, in the real world, right? So like, let's say we take cars. Cars is always the best example. But let's say we take a bunch of cars, right? I can have a whole slew of cars. Each one of them are an object. And each one of those objects can have things about them, right? So they can be, you can say what the color is. You can say what the how many doors it is, right? Whether it's a sedan or whether it's a pickup truck or whether, you know, all the different, there's different things about it. And then, so you can say things about those objects, and those objects can also do things, okay? So again, with the cars, right? A car, if you push on the gas, will go, right? And if you turn the wheel, it turns the wheel. And if you press the horn, it presses the horn. You can turn on a radio. It can do things as well besides just be an object, right? So basically, objects have properties and functions. The properties are things about it, and the functions are things that it can do. Okay? So that's what an object is. That's an object as far as coding is concerned. What Animate allows us to do is that we can take this drawing and make it an object. So you take the drawing, right, and then we just go modify, convert to symbol, and I'm just going to make it a movie clip. There are three different options: movie clip, button, and graphic. I'm just going to cover movie clip for now because I think it's a little bit easier. Okay, and we'll just call it, you know, heart object or something, or heart underscore MC for movie clip. Boom. Okay, now it's an object. You can notice it's over here in my library. You can see it here. And when I select it, instead of it being a drawing, it now has this. It has an instance name, and it has various other things. This is important, this instance name in particular, because later on when we go to code, right, I'm going to have a character, and I want, like, when I push the arrow, the character go to the right. And when I push the left arrow, it go to the left, okay? In order to be able to interact with that drawing, it needs to be an object. It needs to have something about it. So when I have this selected, you can see now it has things about it, right? So I can change the width of it here, right? And I can change the position of it. I went too far, right? I can change the position of it. I can add these color effects. I can add these filters and stuff. But I can change things about it. But also I can attach functions to it through code and have it do things. So maybe like when I go to click on it, it does something, okay? So that's what making it a symbol does. It makes it an object that we can then interact with in code, okay? But more than even that, it also allows us to do things as far as like animation and stuff is considered as well, okay? So the coding thing is going to be something we're going to deal with later. But for animation purposes, it allows us basically to keep it as like a self-contained drawing, all right? So in this case, I have this symbol and it's a heart, right? So I'm just going to make another one. So I'll just draw a picture, or draw this, right? Which is kind of, oh, because it's got that weird thing. Okay. So again, it's another object. I'm just going to go ahead and do modify, convert to symbol. And this time I'm going to just do the button. I'm going to skip graphic because we're not going to use that anyway. And we'll just call this like circle underscore BTN for button. Okay. All right, so these are the two types of symbols that we can make, okay? And they're just built into it. These are like the two things. If we were to look at my thing here, right, I can take this object and I can animate it doing a bunch of things, okay? So we haven't really learned this yet, but basically I could joint and oops, cancel. Hang on a second. I'm at motion. Okay. What was the symbol? Oh, I had both of them selected. Crap. Hang on a second. This guy's got a Control X, Control V. Okay. Now we can do it. Motion tween. All right. So I can have a keyframe here. See that little dot? This keyframe. I can move this up here, and now it will interpolate between the two of them. Okay. Can't really do that so much with drawings because drawings they can't do things, right? This drawing can now do things. I can now use it and animate that object, okay? And that's something I can do. Now, another thing that you can do is this. And I can also animate this one just the same, so it's not anything like that. But if I open up this symbol, if I go inside of the object, if I double click on it and I'm inside of it, that's one way of doing it. Or it's a symbol that we've made. I can also go over here and double click on it here. Oops, got to click on the symbol of it. Come on. All right. I'm now inside of it. See how it says Heart MC? This is its atmosphere. This is its world. And this is all the things inside of it. You can actually, it has its own timeline in here. Now right now, inside of this is just a drawing. So, I can't animate this in here because I can't animate a drawing through here. At least not in the normal way, okay? But I could do something where I make another symbol and stick it inside of it. So let's do this. I'm just going to make a square this time. All right. Okay. Sorry. Make a new layer. Okay. I'll make a square. And I'm going to convert it to a symbol. And we'll just call it square underscore MC. I'm just going to make it a movie clip. Default, just make things movie clips. Okay. And I'm just going to delete that. If I ever want to get it again, I can drag it and drag it and drag it. I can have as many versions, as many of them as I want. And if I change one, right? So let's say I go like this, and I want to make it, I don't know, this color. I'll back up. They're all that color. They're all sourcing from the same object. Okay. Okay. So we're just going to delete these. I don't need them. I'm going to go inside of this object. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to delete this. I don't need this drawing anymore. Instead, I'm going to put this object inside of that object. Now watch. When I go out here, it's still going to be animated in the same way. But what I can do is in here, I could add an animation to it in its own timeline. So I'll hit, this, create motion tween, and I'm just going to spin it, we'll say. So now you see it spins. Now if I back up, you're going to see, you can't see it here. Let me hit Control Enter. And it's going to open up in a web browser. Okay, you're going to see it's going to do both that animation that's underneath it and the one that's above it. So you can nest them inside of each other over and over and over again, which is super useful because you could have, like, let's say, a character, right? And let's say I was doing that example before. Like, this is my character graphic, and if I push right, it goes to the right, and if I push left, it goes to the left, right? Well, what I could do is inside of that symbol that's my character, I could put an animation for walk right, for walking. And then every time I push the thing, it will play the animation of him walking because that's inside of that symbol. So you can nest symbols inside of symbols, and I can have different animations all inside of that same symbol. But basically the idea is that it's just an object that you can control, okay? And you can reuse them as many times as you want. You can change them. It gives you lots of flexibility. Both for the purposes of animation, but also for interactivity in games. Okay, so I showed you the movie clip one. I just want to show you. So you see, it has its own timeline. It's basically just like the stage. It's almost like, see, we have the stage, and this is all this stuff. When I go into this one, it has its own stage now inside of it. It's basically the same idea, that it's just that inside of that. Now the button's a little bit different. Now watch when I double click on this one. You're going to see it's only got 3 things. It's got over, down, and hit. What do you think those are for? So let me show you. So let's do this. I'm going to make a keyframe for each one of these. Okay. So we're going to do one for over, and on over I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to make it a color. On down, select this, and I'm going to make it a color. And on hits, I'm going to go like this, and we'll make it a random color. Okay. Now watch. Again, I got to hit the Control Enter is to like preview, and it's going to go over here because I got a web browser over there. You can see it's doing like that, but watch. And if I hold down, right, pushing down makes it do that, and hovering over turns blue. This one just has an animation. So the button is just like a special thing that they just, I think because you do so much like interactivity inside of multimedia, that they made the special one, and it just has predetermined up, down, over, hit that's just built into that type of symbol, as opposed to the movie clip, which has a timeline that's inside of it. Okay, so that's kind of what the difference are between the two. For the most part, we're just going to use the button. The other one, obviously, let me just draw this. The other one, the graphic, just has, it's just a single picture. So if you were to go inside of it, you're just going to see one frame, and that's basically it. You can't do anything with it. That's why we don't bother using it, because it's just kind of limited. It's not particularly useful. So that's basically what symbols are. They're just objects that we can then animate. We can instance and bring multiple ones in. For instance, actually, even inside of this symbol, right? So now when I click on it, originally it was the heart one, but it has this one in here. I can bring more of these in there. Oh, hang on a second. I gotta make more layers. I can bring more of these in here, right? And then when I go back out, they're all going to, well, they're not spinning now. Just this one's going to spin. That's the only one that has animation on it. But they're all going to move with that one. They're all basically underneath it. They're parented to it. So it allows us to nest things, allows us to add code to it later on. You'll see we make it something that we can control is basically the idea. All right?